Hey everyone, welcome to our AFAA Live. I am Angie Miller. I am an AFAA Mentor and NASM Master Instructor, and I film tips from Angie on the AFAA blog. And today I'm so excited because it's been a couple of weeks and we're talking about one of my favorite topics. Do you have that it factor? Do you walk in a room and you got some swag and charisma and everybody just wants a piece of you, and then you leave and they still want more? That's an it factor, and it has everything to do with emotional intelligence. So I brought on one of my former guests who's become a great friend. I love her dearly. And her name is Joella Hopkins. She is the VP of Group Fitness at EOS Fitness. So I'm just going to let Joella say hey.
Hey guys, and thank you for having me back. I'm so excited to be here.
You know, you and I can't conversate enough. So you know what, we're going to talk about that it factor. And I have a question for you, Joella, before we even start talking about emotional intelligence, because I do think that the it factor has everything to do with emotional intelligence. It has to do with how well we connect with people, how well we understand people, how well we listen, and how well we regulate our emotions and all those things. But when you think of an instructor with an it factor, what comes to mind?
Well, it's funny. I was trying to put a definition to it, and it's really hard to actually define the it factor. And a few years back, I started really into the books on emotional intelligence by Daniel Goleman. And it was like a light bulb moment. That is the it factor. Emotional intelligence and having a high EQ is absolutely what the it factor is. So it seems like now there is more of a definition around it. I look at that instructor that might not necessarily, be the perfect fitness role model as far as the way they look. Because, we always have this expectation someone has to be super fit, or they have to be this excellent coach. And, 9 times out of 10, that is not always the case. When you see that instructor that owns the room, and also people are like drawn to that person and they follow them from gym to gym, that to me is more about that it factor than anything else. And obviously having a high EQ as well.
I think so too. I think you're right, because there are instructors who leave a gym and it's like they bring a tribe with them. The whole community follows. It's not that they're the best instructor. They're not the worst instructor. They're just an instructor who has this ability to connect with people on a level that makes people want more of them. It's like a magnet, right? That instructor has this magnetic presence and you can't get enough of them. We've all met those people, and it's hard to define what's an it factor. And so it does. It all boils down to emotional intelligence. And I wrote an alpha blog, or I filmed an alpha blog recently on emotional intelligence and what that has to do for us as group fitness instructors. And I think it has everything in the world to do with us, because we are community builders. And so how well we build community is how successful our classes are. We have to be good listeners. We have to just be that person that people want to be around and get more information from.
Yeah, no, you mentioned listening, and that is one of the biggest skills of an emotionally intelligent person, and it falls right into group fitness. When I train instructors, sometimes we do this drill. It's called the listening drill. And like if I was right in front of you, Ange, we would sit with our knees touching and our hands close together. And this was obviously before social distancing and COVID, but this was what we would do. And we would actually connect with each other through, touching. And then one person would speak the other person wasn't going to say one word and would just have to listen. And it would go on as long as I let it. So for instance, there are times when I let them go on for 3 to 4 minutes where the one person couldn't stop talking and the other person had to not say one word and just listen. It is one of the most eye-opening drills that you will ever do in your life. Because I don't know about you, I've worked really hard over the years to be able to shut that conversation off in my brain when I'm trying to listen to somebody else. Because you know how you're listening and you're trying to focus on them, but you're thinking about what you want to say next. And that to me is where you have to become much more emotionally intelligent and turn that off. And we do that all the time in class. Think about all those members that come up to us after class and we're thinking about where we got to go and what we got to do. And we got to put our stuff away. the key to connecting and true connectivity with people in front of us, those members, is to shut all that noise off and actually listen to them. So that's a huge component. I'm glad you brought that up.
I think so too. You know, it's funny, in one of these AFAA webinars I talked about, I called my husband out. So sometimes when I'm talking, my husband's lips will start moving. And when I first met him 28 years ago, I was like, what are you doing? He's like, what do you mean, what am I doing? I'm like, your lips are moving. So not only is he processing what he's thinking, but his lips actually start moving. But absolutely, when we're kind of grounded in our space and our body language and everything about us says, I'm invested in you and I want to hear what you have to say. You know, I'm taking this time in this space to make this more about you than it is about me. And so I think that that's a key component. So, you know, that magnetic presence and this whole emotional intelligence thing, I thought it was a really timely topic. And the reason why I brought it up in my AFAA video and in this webinar is because we're going back into the gyms now at a time when we've been so disconnected and everybody's feeling a little jaded. You know, I don't know if jaded is the right word, but we're feeling a little wounded and disconnected from the world. And so us being emotionally connected with other humans and being able to bring these people in and make them feel safe and protected in this space is going to make all the difference in the world. And so that's things like, one of the things that I talked about in my video was having personal insight. So I think that emotionally intelligent people, and Daniel Goleman talks about this, they have personal insight. They're very self-aware. They've done a lot of personal work, whether that's through therapy or meditation or journaling. There's a lot of ways we can do personal work. But I do think that emotionally intelligent people have done a lot of work inside so that what they present to people outside, they're pretty grounded in their space. They're a pretty safe person to be around. There's not a lot of insecurities or weird stuff coming out of them. What do you think?
I do. I totally agree. And it's funny because, you know, when we're talking about instructors with regard to that, and especially during these crazy times, the people that come to my brain, they seem like they are the one, like they're the one that everybody connects to and everybody wants to be around. And I can think back over the years of many, many people who start off like that, but down the road, if they're not emotionally intelligent, those people eventually, people get hip to that. I don't know if that makes sense to you. They come across as this big presence and they care about everybody and they're so bought into other people. But really, as you get to know that person or that instructor, it really becomes more about just them. And eventually they kind of fall off the map. I can think of so many over the years that were so big for a while, but then they got a little bit too big for their britches, if that makes sense. And
so wait, are you talking about ego in our industry?
You gotta pull back and you gotta realize, if I want to stay in this for the long run and I really genuinely want to be a leader, I'm gonna have to be self-aware and realize, you know what, there are a lot of things about me, and I'm sure you, Ange, over the years have thought of things that, you know, may have been the most emotionally intelligent traits. And we've had to work really hard, whether it's through reading, like you said, or journaling, or counseling, for crying out loud, or whatever it may be. You know, you've got to accept the areas that you may be weak in order to really grow as a leader. I don't know if you have experienced that yourself, but I can say there were some traits that maybe weren't the most pleasant that I've had when I was younger. And I'm really still working on that. I guess we're always just a work in progress, but realizing the things that we need to work on are key.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what it is? I mean, hey, my journey, you can't be a therapist if you haven't gone through the process of therapy. You can only take your clients as far as you've gone yourself. And so that's the same thing on the fitness floor. You know, we can only lift people up if we feel like we're grounded in our space. We're only willing to allow people in our fold if we're not feeling threatened by people coming into it, right? So we have to be a whole self before we can give a little bit of ourselves away, because then it's fulfilling. It doesn't feel like we're letting go of something. So that whole personal insight piece is, and that whole self-awareness piece is really important. It's about monitoring our feelings in the moment. It's about being psychologically flexible. It's about understanding that when we have 40 people in a fitness room, We have 40 different belief systems. We have 40 different ways of viewing the world. And some people view the world with a wide lens, some with a narrow lens. Some look at the world long term. Some are in their moment. So yeah, it's all about that psychological flexibility and being very aware of who we are.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest connection factors when you're an instructor, and I like to throw myself under the bus sometimes because I think that makes us more real when we're talking about instructors and where we may have failed along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, in my 20s and even into my 30s, when I'd be in the room, the talkative people would drive me absolutely nutty. I would be like, God, shush, just go get your work. If you're working out hard, you shouldn't be able to talk, right? And I would, because I'm such a workout person and I'm a movement person. And then as I've grown, I realized that every single person that's in that class connects in a different way, and they're all there for different reasons. And it's not up to me to decide how they connect, if that makes sense. So you've got your people. They come to the gym, they come to our classes to connect with each other and to connect with you. They talk, they're social. It's literally everything to them, able to talk and socialize with the other people. Now, there are other people that are more of your exercise practitioners, the movement people, the ones that they're there for the workout. So I've got to be able to not only connect with the social people, but I've got to be able to keep that workout moving, stay on point, because those movement people get frustrated if you don't. And then there's the music people. I always look at the people that thrive off of music classes. So when you can play great music and you can take and you don't over talk the music when you're teaching, that way you're connecting with everyone in the room. But the way that I do with this is I can't just connect in one way out of those three, because everybody in that room, like you said, is so very different and connects differently. So that's where I had to grow.
Yeah, and that's where the psychological flexibility comes in. And you're right, the chatters really used to get under my skin a lot. And then you start to realize that I'm bringing the chatters into my community, and that chatter is what's keeping them coming because they're building relationships with other people. So they're keeping the numbers up there. In other words, their job security, right? They're helping me build that community and that sense of belonging and that sense of everybody wanting to get to know everybody. But yeah, everybody comes to fitness for a different reason, and we just have to open up the floor for all these different styles, and that's that psychological flexibility. And if we've done a lot of work inside, we're not too threatened by other people being different. I think that that's the biggest thing to me for emotional intelligence is people who feel the best about themselves are the least threatened by other people. And that's how I can always tell if they've done their work. Because if they're self-aware and they're psychologically flexible and they're accepting of everyone, then I'm like, yep, you've done some work and you're the kind of person who I want to be around because I know you're not judging me.
Yeah, for sure. And when you take a deep look and you realize there's enough limelight, I guess that's the word I'm looking for everybody. Just because you allow someone else's light to shine doesn't dull your own light. That's one of the things that I say a lot. And I think being able to let someone else have the moment. And as you grow, and I've grown, I'm 52 next week, which just kills me even thinking about it. So I feel that I've reached a different journey in my career, a different place in my career where I absolutely get joy and reward out of seeing other people grow and shine. And one of my favorite and most rewarding parts of my job is to help grow people to become great instructors. I need to jump off the stage. I still like to teach a little bit, but that's not my main goal anymore. It's about growing other people. And I think that comes with maturity and a lot of also work on emotional intelligence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, by the way, can you all hear me? Because I'm getting a message that my speakers might not be quite right. Can you all hear me okay? Can you hear me okay, Joella?
I can hear you okay. You're not as loud as I would like, so that's why I kind of keep leaning forward a little bit. So, the microphone might need to go up a little bit.
All right, how's that? Oh, I think I've lost you. Can you hear me okay? I think I've lost everybody now. All right, how about it now? Are we good?
There you are. I lost you. Like, where'd you go?
Okay, I know for a second. So that was perfect. So let's talk about another tip that Daniel Goleman talked about, that I talked about in my video.
And I can't hear anything. Greg, are you there?
Hey guys, yeah,
technology.
I gotta love technology. So Joella, if you want to check your mic and cam settings in there, it should help you. Angie, if you want to check yours as well. Thanks everybody for being patient with us here.
Okay, how's that, Greg? Am I better?
Yep, we can hear you, Angie. And
okay.
Can you hear us, Joella?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
All right.
Sure,
All right,
yeah.
There you go, guys. I'll let you get back to your comment.
All right. I love it when Greg jumps in and sets us straight.
Technology.
All right. Okay. So the second thing that I talked about was being socially.
How frustrating. No.
Have you lost me, Joella?
Can't hear Angie at all. I could hear you fine, Greg.
All right, Angie, if you reset your mic settings there, let's see if that'll fix the issue. Again, thank you everybody for your patience. Well, Angie's working on that. I'm going to use this time to selfishly promote our Optima conference coming up October 13th through the 16th. If you love hearing from Angie without technical difficulties, you'll be able to hear from her in her sessions at Optima there. Head to NASMoptima.com. You can register with our special doorbuster early prices. It's $159 for the 4-day event, and you will and you can do that through September 6th before the prices go up. Angie, how is your mic now? Let's see if Joella.
I took out the AirPods. Is that better?
Joella, can you hear her?
No.
I can hear you, Angie, but
no,
I don't think.
You can hear me, Greg?
I can hear you. I can hear everybody. So Angie, if you want to ask me the questions and then I'll ask Joella, we could just, no, I'm just kidding. Joella, if you don't mind, just can you sign back on through that link that we provided you, and then we'll and then we'll see if that works. Thanks. Angie, so while we're waiting for Joella to come back, why don't you tell us a little bit about one of your Optima sessions? What do we have you doing at Optima this year?
Absolutely. So I'm doing a small ball class, which is an hour long. And I think it's amazing for personal trainers and group fitness instructors, because small balls are these soft, squishy little balls that you can bring with you everywhere you go. You can use them for core work. You can integrate them into any kind of fitness routine that you're doing. They're great for balance and stabilization, and they're great for core. They're just super flexible. I'm also doing one on solution-focused fitness, which is one of my favorite things because I'm a solution-focused therapist. So instead of looking for what's wrong, I teach people how to look for what's right, how to focus on what's working and make it work even better.
So how does that solution-focused work? Like how do you implement that with an actual individual? If you want to share a little bit more about it.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with motivational interviewing. And so motivational interviewing is things like, asking a lot of questions, getting the client to have a buy-in into change. So motivational interviewing is something that's used a lot with people like for smoking cessation and things like that, where it's used in the medical and in the mental health community. And the whole idea is that we want to get people to invest in change instead of just telling them what to do. So we're not the fixers, we're just the people who are there to guide them along their journey.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing that. Happy to hear about that. And like I said, if you want to hear any of those sessions with Angie and experience them live, head to NASMoptima.com and you can check those out and register for the event. We have Joella back. Joella, can you hear Angie right now? And now your mic isn't working. We're having one of those days, everybody. So we apologize for the technical difficulties. So while Joella tries to reconnect her mic using the mic settings down at the bottom of the screen, Joella, Angie, can you tell us a little bit about, you're talking about the small ball training that you're going to be doing as well. What is that about, and how does that work exactly?
So the small ball is that little squishy ball. Some people call them like the Bender ball because that's one of the brands, but they're almost like a kid's play ball. They're very non-threatening. So you're not going to gain a lot of, you're not going to build muscle with them, but you're going to work on balance and stabilization, a lot of great core work. They're very non-threatening and yet very amazing to work with. So for everybody, from older adults to young people, all ages, all stages of fitness.
All right, well, great. Joella, can we test your mic again now? All right. Well, I'm Angie. I'm gonna, as the producer here, I'm gonna call this since we can't get Joella's mic to work. We will do some technical examination, and then hopefully we'll be able to have Joella back. I know we were going to have a second version with her for next week, so hopefully we can get everything fixed and we can have Joella back again. I apologize, everyone, about the technical difficulties, and Angie, I always appreciate you being the consummate pro with this kind of stuff.
All right, so we'll sign out for a minute.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.